Hello, I'm James from GRM Northampton, and I just want to do a short video on DPFs, as boring as that sounds, on how they work, just a brief rundown of how they work, what they actually do, and clear up some information, some false information that's out there, and a few myths and stuff, and just do a bit of a helpful video for everybody really. So this is a DPF. That's actually a catalytic converter. And then the DPF itself is here. That was off of a Mark 7 Golf GTD. So yeah, basically DPFs, they trap soot that comes out of a diesel engine, and they trap it in little particle banks, and then once in a while, once they get full, they burn off the excess soot. A lot of people say they're absolutely crap and they don't work and everything like that. That's one of the myths on the internet that you see, probably on Facebook pages and stuff. But they're actually really good. If everything is working on the car itself and everything on the DPF is working properly, they're absolutely fine. So you've got like DPF pressure sensors here. You've got a few temperature sensors in here. A few EGT sensors here. You got loads of stuff that actually is with the DPF that makes them work correctly. And if something goes down and it doesn't work, then the DPF will block up, and that's why you get your engine light on and your DPF light on the dash. So the first bit of false information I want to clear up, and it really annoys me, is that somebody will post something on Facebook about, oh, I've got an engine management light on my car, I've got a DPF light on, what do I do? And someone will go on, reply on it on the Facebook page, say it's, I don't know, a golf forum or something, and we'll call this person Dave. They'll comment on it and they'll go, take it for a rag down the motorway, stick it in third gear at 70 mile an hour and rag the shit out of it. No, that will not fix any of your problems. That will make them worse. A DPF needs to get hot to burn the soot off. So soot burns at 550 degrees. And if you're ragging your car, it will never reach that temperature. It will cool it down to something like 250, 300 degrees. Simply because when you're booting your car, you're drawing fresh air into the intake, through the engine, and out the exhaust and the DPF. And it's throwing fresh air through it, and it's cooling it down. So what you need to do is, if you ever get a DPF light on or an engine management light on, with the DPF light or whatever, you just need to take it down a dual carriageway or a motorway and just sit in 4th, 5th gear, so sort of 50, 60 mile an hour, about 2,500 revs, and just chill. And eventually, if everything's working around the DPF, so like your DPF pressure sensors, your EGR valve and everything like that, it will burn the soot off, because it will get to 550 degrees plus and it will burn it off. So that's the first false bit of information on there, on DPFs on Facebook and the internet and stuff. Take your car for a rag and it will clear it. It won't. It will not clear it. Second bit of false information, another thing that annoys me a bit, is DPFs are crap. They should never be on the cars. Blah, blah, blah. They're actually really good. Like I said, if everything's working around the DPF, so your EGR, your pressure sensors, your temperature sensors, everything like that, if everything's working, the DPF will regenerate, and they're actually really good. They do their job. You got to think how many diesel cars are out there with DPFs fitted on the roads today. If every car had a fault, which some people assume every car with a DPF fitted has got a fault and they're crap, then I'm sure they probably wouldn't be on the road. So that's another bit of information that sort of does my head in, that DPFs are crap. Lastly, people going on Facebook saying, I've got a problem, and then somebody else will jump on it and go, just delete it, get it mapped out, it'd be so much better, the fuel economy will be better, it's just easier, it's better, all this shit. It's actually illegal now to delete DPFs. So yeah, they are right, you'll never have a problem with it again, but it's illegal, and they are clamping down on it quite a bit more, especially in MOTs and stuff. If you can see that, so if you could see sort of like a cut mark here and a weld mark where somebody's cut it out, it will fail an MOT, and that's going to cost you in the long run. I mean, this DPF here, probably 1600 quid. It's got a bit black on my face now. From a parts supplier, probably 1600 quid. You don't want to be paying that because you've deleted it and tried to save a bit of money. When in reality, if you did have a problem with it, it could have just been sort of like a £60 pressure sensor. So that's that really. That's all I wanted to say. If you do get any troubles with your DPFs, and you're doing a lot of town driving and stuff, and you get a light on your dash, take it on a dual carriageway, sit in 4th, 5th gear, and just chill out really, sort of 2,500 revs, and just do sort of 10-15 minutes of driving, just cruising. And eventually, if everything's working, it will sort itself out. Obviously, if it doesn't sort itself out, take it to a garage, get it plugged in, somebody that knows sort of how they work and stuff. Just go from there. Also, a lot of garages will say you need new DPF. It's knackered. I've never replaced a DPF. Never actually replaced a DPF because it's had, a problem. It's usually something around the DPF that's causing it. So replacing the DPF is a massive myth. I've never changed one personally. The only thing I have had to do is take them off to be cleaned, because it's too full of ash. So yeah, changing the DPF is the last resort, and like I say, I've never changed one. The only time you do really need to change them is if they're actually, broken down inside and cracked inside, which I've never personally seen. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say really. Take car for a cruise instead of ragging it, and you'll be all good.